Gender Dimensions of Waste and Chemicals, a case study from Indonesia, a film produced by Balifokus and WECF. This film was produced by Balifokus and WECF as part of the project on gender and chemicals, implemented with the support of the Basel, Rotterdam and Stockholm Convention Secretariat. The Indonesian NGO Balifokus consulted with authorities, civil society, farmers and scientists as part of a scoping study on gender and chemicals. The outcomes of the study are presented in this short film. Gender waste and chemicals. What are the problems? Due to existing gender roles, women are more often engaged in informal and household work, during which they come into contact with harmful substances and waste. Exposure to these chemicals has negative health impacts and can lead to cancer, infertility, birth defects, and other irreversible damage. Main groups of harmful chemicals in Indonesia are POPs, persistent organic pollutants, present in pesticides, plastic waste and cosmetics, PCBs, polychlorinated biphenyls in industrial oils, mercury used for gold smelting, lead from used lead-acid battery smelters, and asbestos wastes. Main hotspots for chemicals are agriculture and palm oil plantations, open waste burning and waste recycling sites, artisanal and small-scale gold mining sites, lead smelter from used acid batteries, and chrysotile asbestos factories. POPs and pesticides in agriculture. Agriculture is a principal source of POP pollution in Indonesia. Pesticides such as endosulfan and paraquat, globally banned, are still used. Men, women and children work in agriculture and are exposed to pesticides. Many cases of pesticides poisoning of women and young girls have been reported. When residues are burned, toxic POPs are released and inhaled. Informal waste recycling and scavenging. Informal waste scavengers live and work on waste dumps. About 30% of these waste scavengers are female. Styrofoam, plastic bags, and PVC plastic cables and e-waste are melted in the open, without filters. The fumes do not only poison workers, but also the surrounding farmland and animals. Dioxins and other POPs thus end up in food. Asbestos waste is dumped without security measures. Mercury and artisanal small-scale gold mining. Despite the global ban, mercury is imported, produced and used by 1 million small-scale gold miners from impoverished communities. A study found that Indonesian women have the highest concentrations of mercury in their blood. This mercury is linked to high numbers of miscarriages, stillbirth and birth defects. Harmful chemicals in everyday life, lice treatment and cosmetics. Lindane, globally banned in agriculture, still used in lice treatment for children. Other harmful chemicals are used in cosmetics and accumulate in the body, also during pregnancy and breastfeeding. However, 74% of urban breastfeeding mothers said they did not know that this can have a negative impact. Breast milk needs to be protected from chemicals as it is essential for the child. Thus, Indonesia have the right policies. The National Implementation Plan for the Stockholm Conventions provides information but not strong enough tools. Gender budgeting and expertise is present, but not yet related to waste policies. Recommendations and best practices. Recommendations for the Indonesian Ministry of the Environment. Following the case study, Balifokus and WECF formulated several recommendations for the government, academic world and civil society. Allocate part of the gender budget to the Chemicals and Waste Department for actions. Actions can include an annual award on gender and chemicals for authorities and civil society. Organize a staff training on gender equality integration for the government. Let each staff member in the ministry develop an individual plan for strengthened gender integration into their work. The ministry commits to specific actions, e.g. to no longer have men-only panels, and to have a strategy to end sexual violence in the workplace. Develop project proposals for funding of non-toxic alternatives, such as the local production of alternatives to plastics. Highlighted recommendations and best practices. Highlighted recommendation 1 is to create legislation to collect e-waste for safe disposal. Best practice to illustrate this recommendation is the school initiative to collect old mobile phones in Jakarta. Highlighted recommendation 2 is to create awareness for chemicals and gender, including the spreading of information on breastfeeding. For example, the NGO Gita Pertiwi started a campaign to teach women to avoid harmful chemicals. Highlighted recommendation 3 is to increase law enforcement on harmful chemicals that are banned, including mercury. The NGO Balifokus supports small-scale gold miners with information and alternative economic livelihoods. Support the good practices in Indonesia on gender, chemicals and waste. More information can be found at www.wecf.org and www.balifokus.asia.